All right, welcome to On the Chain. What is going on tonight? We've got a monster lineup. We're going to dig in because there's a lot going on from the crypto perspective. There is a lot going on from the geopolitical perspective. XRP ETFs are definitely heating up. Now, a New York Attorney General candidate just dropped a political sledgehammer. The bit license is, you guessed it, unlawful, not questionable, not outdated, but unlawful. Now, New York's entire crypto regulatory framework could collapse, and that will change everything. Meanwhile, and I mentioned it a minute ago, XRP ETFs are heating up so fast. There's new tools that are out that are tracking live volumes, derivatives, AUM flows, issuer countdowns. Man, this is the kind of institutional data that people have been absolutely begging for since 2017, at least. I know as I got into the space back in 2017, it's just a matter of time. We said, what's coming first? The banks or the crypto platforms buying out the banks? How's this all going to work? How's this all going to roll out? Man, we're seeing it all in real time unfolding, which is super impressive. XRPL devs are out dropping receipts on why the WSAM was destroyed or destroys EVM on speed and safety. And here we go. Unfortunately, we're going to get into the geopolitical side because we always do, because the politics and the crypto always intersect. There's a big clown show going on right now on a global scale, from the US to the UK to Greece. Politicians are an absolute meltdown. Media losing control, borders getting stress tested, and everybody is simply screaming at everyone. Prayers go out to the two guardsmen that were unfortunately singled out, targeted, and shot in DC. And there's going to be some big things coming to Law and Order. We're going to talk about that. Now, we're going to cut through the noise. We're going to break down the big signals going on there: money, power, the fight for control. And that's pretty much what it's all about. It's all about fighting for control. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's do this thing. Let's go. All right, let us go. Let's do this thing. See what we got. As you're jumping in here, why don't you give a quick shout out to where you are tuning in from? Love to hear from you guys. What is going on? Where were you? Joe Bud said, "Hey, I was a guardsman, and it's completely messed up what is happening." And those guys were singled out, and we're gonna have to dig into that. Sorry, getting the post up a little bit late. Hopefully the word gets out. I don't know that the notifications went out, even though I see my notification right here. So I actually just got it. There we go. Just got two of them. So things are happening. Good evening, Jim. Good to see you. It's messed up that everybody's names are completely messed up now on YouTube, and the way they're coming across over here is definitely not helpful. Check this out. So if we're to look at how our the commentary, and it's interesting. The one thing that I realized, that if you're watching on the replay and you're not going to watch the comments, you might not see the comments, but we always have comments kind of flowing through that we're looking at, that we're reading. And there's something new that they rolled out that actually allows us to change where these are actually going from. So we can actually go through and look at some of the comments right there on the screen, but many times it just kind of gets in the way when there's multiple people here. Big shout out Joe Bud coming in from Puerto Rico. So we're going to get into it. We are going to get into this tonight. So interesting. I want to get into our guest speaker. We do have a guest that is going to come on here for the show on December 10th. So Wednesday, December 10th, mark it on your calendars. the candidate running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who is the congresswoman in Broward County, and you guys probably know her. So there is somebody running against her that probably for the first time in many years has the best chance to unseat her. And it is actually somebody from the crypto space, invested in crypto, ran a crypto platform, and is self-funding a huge part of his campaign. And so we're going to talk about that because it is crypto centric, it is geopolitical centric, and we're going to go over his X page, so to speak. And then we're going to have him on here with us on the show on December 10th. And then I'm actually hosting him at another event on December 11th. So it's going to be really great. Want to talk about, and it's great. You know, we've been covering Flare, talking about Flare, getting into the Flare that is Flare, and all about development, all about what's actually going on right now, crypto centric. Let me share my screen here. See if we can get this to come up. Here we go. Share some audio. Be careful. If you're sharing it, you're also sharing the audio. So Hugo Filan, what are we talking about here? What exactly is going on? Now, Santiago Velez had set beast mode activated. Value is created by shipping products that solve problems for its users, irrespective of market conditions. Now, I find that an interesting comment, mainly because the one thing that we talk a lot about here is we talk a lot about the fact that there are many projects that are actually solutions in search of problems. I much rather have problems that you can find a solution to solve. I don't want a solution. And you say, you know what? I don't even know what problem we're solving. But it's cool. Why? Because it's in crypto. That's why it's so cool. So what does Hugo actually say? So Hugo is saying that nothing is ever irrespective of market conditions. And I find that to be interesting also because with market conditions, you can actually implode a project if the market condition is negative and the sentiment is negative. Nobody focuses on your product and it doesn't get the legs, or bad timing and you don't have the legs to carry it over. But market condition can definitely impact sentiment. But at the same time, market condition while you're building and developing doesn't always necessarily impact the direction, your passion, and the development, the further growth of the project. So Hugo then goes on. That was all my commentary, by the way. Hugo says, but if I'm proud of anything, I'm proud of how we've been able to manage our burn relative to our funding levels to make sure we always have runway that almost every other entity in the space would be jealous of. I think the greatest things of coming from a hedge fund is that it gave me the discipline to manage Flare Foundation capital in a sensible way. And that's good news for those that are looking at Flare as a sensible, sizable project that has tremendous growth potential, some tremendous opportunities out there to really do what we want it to do best. And I'm kind of just going through, looking at some additional commentary on that. But I like it. I like where Flare is going. I like the level-headedness of Hugo as this builds, and really trying to find that point where stuff really starts taking off. And I like this idea. He's looking at runway, managing funding, managing growth, sensible growth, and some mishaps in the beginning that we talked about with the Flare airdrops. But you know what? It's everything kind of worked itself out. And we're actually looking forward to having Hugo Filan on here in a future show, hopefully soon, because we have Chip did reach out to him. Chip did talk to him. So would love to see him on here. Now, Trying to think if we want to get into what were one of the issues going on over in New York. But before we go that, let's talk a little bit about XRP ETFs. Mainly because what we're starting to see, what is up, Zober? What we're starting to see with the XRP ETFs, and really trying to get a good grasp of, let's call it, traditional finance products that are finding their way into crypto, and it's happening at such a steady pace. The question is, does it belong there 100%? Depending on how we start leveraging and things like that. But there's huge volume, just tons and tons of movement right now. If we look at the spot volume, 24-hour volume, spot ETFs, we're looking at, this is the XRP ETF terminal, $43.14 million, $43.14 million in spot volume, which is really outstanding, real exciting. And then let's kind of go down into some of the platforms here, right? So we got Grayscale, we've got Franklin Templeton, we've got Bitwise. There's all these different, they got the Canary, and we get into the different platforms. I actually had bought into the XRPC. Price point is sitting at $23.77. I think it's down since its launch. But if you look at the 24-hour volume of $8 million, 24-hour volume, and then we get into Franklin Templeton, Bitwise. What I'm interested in, though, here is the GXRP, the XRP Trust, at $43.20. And it's 24-hour volume at 2.96. Now, what's interesting about that, if I look at the Bitcoin came out, right? You had the GDLC, we have GBTC, and then there is BTC, all within Grayscale. We had the Trust, and then you have the spot ETF, and then there's the basket product. And what's interesting is that the Bitcoin Trust launched actually around $4, maybe $4.50, maybe might have even been $4.32. I don't remember exactly what the number was, but it was a low interesting number when it launched. Might even been $2. Someone out there might remember when the Bitcoin Trust launched and the exact price point that it launched at. The point being that it did a reverse split, did a reverse 10-for-1 split, and then 10x the price. So it went from like $4 to $43, right to point. Now I think it's trading around 70, something like that. And it's really impressive to see all of these different ETFs rolling out, and just the sheer quantity now of the XRP ETFs that are coming to fruition here. Laurel is saying very interesting, and 11 more ETFs to go live. Right, there's just a lot going on. Man, I was a little late putting up the show, and I see that it's getting super slow traction, getting picked up on the release here, getting the notifications out. I think I got super slow on notifications. That's all right. But what else do we have here? I'm trying to find, let's see, here's some volatility shares. It's just so cool to see this. Here's the ProShare Ultra XRP ETF, which is UXRP at $14.19. This one, I'm looking for an entry point into GXRP. I like this number. I like where it's going. 0%, zero fee, total volume on the GXRP, 14 million. 14 million. Right? That's total trade volume, right? This one, 24-hour volume. This is good. We got the XRPR, the Rex, Osprey. Man, things are heating up. Things are definitely moving in the right direction. Everyone's waiting for the ETF to launch, and then everyone said, "Well, ETF launches, then what happened? Then where's the price movement?" The entire market kind of in a pullback. Entire market retracting. Bitcoin dropping to like 84,000. Man, Palantir hit an all-time high of 209. Let me see. Palantir, obviously not crypto, but AI related. Palantir sitting at $165, down $44 from its all-time high. Man, that was brutal. Let me look at let's go to GDLC. Where's the GDLC Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund, currently at $42.98, and that is for the month over month, the past month, it's down about 22%. Man, that's brutal. That's not good. Let's look at the GXRP, and then I'll pull it up here on the screen. GXRP. Did GXRP not drop? I thought GXRP dropped. Didn't it? We just saw it. How come I'm not seeing? Oh, G-Sol. That was the other one I wanted. G-Sol. That's what I wanted to look up. I want to see where the G-Sol is. That one, G-Sol came out at, man, I think it was $14 on launch. Let's look at the month. For the month, yeah, it's down. It's down about $4 for the month. For the past 6 months, down $4. So yeah, it was at around $14. I think it launched at 12 something or 13. That was the Grayscale Solana Trust ETF. ETFs heating up. People want to get into the crypto space, but the whole market as a whole, the pullback, and that's a little detrimental. I want to look up, where's BTC at? Where's Bitcoin at right now? Bitcoin's at 90,000. Hang on. Let me look up CoinGecko. I'm going to connect this all back in. This is all relevant. Here we go. Let's pull up. Let's dig into our market. Bitcoin at 90. XRP had dropped to $1.98. $1.98, and it's sitting at $2.22. I like 222. I think that's a healthy number. Ethereum 3,000. There's Solana 142. Still up for the 7 days. We're up 4%. In 84,000 again on Bitcoin. And the market's going to be the market. Still has some places to go. But all right. Let me digress away from that. Whoop. What was that all about? That was weird. All right. So let's get into the bit license. Kind of covered all the ETFs. There's more to talk about on this front as well. I want to go through, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the XRPL smart contract. I want to talk a little bit more about another scoop kind of coming out from CFTC. What's going on over there? There was some scoop by Eleanor Terrett that we need to talk about. But let's get into. Let me see if this is gonna be playable. Hang on a second. Playable, cool. This was Crypto America. So we have someone that's going after Letitia James. So let's pull this up. Here we go. Now let me go full screen. It's a short video, and then we'll look at what this they're talking about. Bitcoin license might be not Bitcoin, the bit license might very well be unlawful. This was Crypto America Live, so we're tuning into somebody's podcast here. So let's see, where did my play button go? Here we go. Volume is on. Here we go. All right, here we go. No volume. I muted the volume. Hang on a second. Now we've got volume. Here we go.
I think the bit license is unlawful. It was not passed by the state legislature. It's essentially a duplicative license because you still have to get the money transmission license. And it's a great example of an item, policy choice that actually makes it harder to do business here, increases costs. We're not asking for any kind of special treatment. We're just asking to not be targeted unfairly. It's that kind of mindset. And of course, DFS handles the BIT license. The AG can't do anything unilaterally. You'd have to work with the governor. But I think there is a strong case that there is, an infringement of economic rights for people that want to build in New York because of the BIT license. I think the BIT
license is unlawful. It's interesting. I like what he says right at the end. And this is the problem, state to state, this infringement. Look at that. An infringement of economic rights for people that want to build in New York because of the BIT license. BIT license, from a regulatory perspective, makes operating in the state of New York more complex. This is what he's saying, going after Letitia James and how she's managed her affairs over there in the state of New York. And so really necessary. Let's bring in some more crypto-centric individuals in politics. And to that point, why don't we bring it in now, because it could be really key. Let's bring in, where is the tab? Hang on a second. Here he is. All right, let's talk a little bit about, just a segue. Somebody take care of Shanti, wherever that ALX thing is. You guys can somehow, I can remove them. Look at that. Boom. Gone. All right. Sweet. Here we go. So Michael Carbonera for U.S. Congress. Now, this guy is probably the first the first candidate that has a real opportunity to unseat Debbie Wasserman Schultz. This is Michael Carbonera. Now he's getting a start. I don't know why we're not verified. Let's get rid of that. But he has a good ad. I want to play his ad. I want to see what kind of commentary you guys have on it. I think it's pretty serious, pretty solid. He's over in the Southwest Ranches in South Florida. That's where he lives. He's a Republican for Congress, Florida House seat District 25. He's fighting to keep the American dream alive. The guy is self-made, and the guy is, definitely solid. So the guy is crypto, finance. Let's hear it from him. Definitely a builder, definitely an innovator. Won't give up. And I like this. From startups to households, Florida is where freedom fuels growth. Let's build a future worth believing in. Everybody give a quick shout out as you guys are tuning in here. So see, Tamara just joined us as well. All right, let's play this. Let me pump up the volume. Let's go full screen. And here we go. This is Michael Carbonera. Now he is the guy that is going to unseat Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So here we go.
I didn't inherit a fortune. I didn't climb a political ladder. I built companies from the ground up. I'm Michael Carbonara. In 2011, I launched my first tech company. No roadmap, just grit, vision, and a belief that real problems deserve real solutions. I built businesses in banking, crypto, and fertility care, industries where innovation can literally change lives. And I did it by taking it back to the basics, learning every system, managing every team, hands-on approach the whole way. Now, I'm running for Congress because Washington doesn't need more career politicians. It needs people who know how to fix things. I've seen innovation, hard work, and personal freedom lead to success. But that's exactly what's under threat. Our economy, our families, our liberties, crushed by bloated bureaucracy and out-of-touch elites like Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. My wife's family fled communist Cuba, so we know what happens when freedom is taken away. Democrats like Debbie want to take us down that same path: higher taxes, less opportunity, less liberty. It wasn't long ago Florida was a disaster under Democrat leadership, but we turned the tide. Now I'm stepping up to finish the job and retire Debbie Wasserman's shells for good. I'm not here to manage the client. I'm here to rebuild, to protect the freedoms that help myself and the people around me succeed. I'm Michael Carbonara, an entrepreneur, husband, father, and now candidate for Congress in Florida's 25th district. Join me, and together, we will build the future we're fighting for.
And there you have it. And was from crypto, made money in crypto. A little bit ahead of himself there, but this is really great. You know, I really like seeing exactly where he's going, exactly what he's up to, and he's calling stuff out too, which is really great. So then it's interesting. Let me see if I can get into, I think it was in these comments. Let's see. It might have been here. So let me just open this. Let's see. There were some comments that came through. Oh, here you go. So mostly peaceful memes. Says, get Schultz the fuck out. Right. This is the commentary. Right. This is a while ago. September 3rd. The guy posted that. And I don't know, as you kind of, you know, build down all of the chats, if you don't always watch it, always down from some Carbonara. And Michael says, yes. I like this one. Get her the fuck out. She will be soon. And there you go. Who's funding you? I'm funding myself. So think about that. You know, he's self-funding. And the guy, if you look up his net worth, you know, the guy's done pretty well. Yes, he is Republican. You know, so a lot of cool things happening. And this is really mindful. You know, we see somebody going after Letitia James, talking about the bit license, talking about the regulatory framework. You bring somebody like this to U.S. Congress, imagine what it means for South Florida. But what does it actually mean when you go, you know, further north into the D.C. country? You know, how is that going to impact us on a national scale? He's got to go there and represent District 25. He's got to represent for us. But there's so much more that has to happen. Surgeon is saying, why is YouTube showing our handles instead of names as it used to? Because somebody they broke it. They broke YouTube. I don't know. YouTube broke YouTube. They screwed it up, it's so stupid, because before you could put whatever you wanted, and now don't even, you know, now we have to guess it at who's logging in here, who's talking. And then there's the good ones, like, look at that, Chad Nauseum. Boom. Didn't even have to change it. Just Chad Nauseum. He got the win. Who else stayed the same? I think anyone who had a space in their name somehow got changed. Look at Jim D 007. And that's it. Oh, YouTube forced all to use their new handles that start with @ to emulate X, used to use own channel name. Not anymore. Now it's all messed up. Whole thing is so screwy. You lose your exclusive name and handle usually and need a new suffix. There you go. So you can go like Jim D _ 007. You could put, you can redo it somehow. And I think, you know, with us, I think we're the same on the chain. I haven't even seen. Let's see when we post something. I don't think ours has changed. Let me see. Let's see. Shout out. See what happens when we post it. There we go. On the chain live. No change. I would have gladly taken. There you go. You can still do it. Go ahead and see if you can change it up. Get the Chad Nauseum 007. All right. Wrath of Khan. Wrath of Khan posted something pretty cool. Then we're going to get into the CFTC. Then we'll start digging into some geopolitics. But let me pull this up. This is Wrath of Comment. Learning about XRPL smart contracts for the novice, which he's talking about himself. He says, there are some fundamental differences between the EVM and the proposed WASM, which smart contracts on the XRPL. Here are two important differences, making WASM faster and safer. And this is a big deal too. You know, we definitely want to see, we like the idea of interoperability, like the idea of the smart contracts really building and growing. I'm happy there's Ethereum. I like the EVM. I like that fact of development, kind of first mover, first shaker. But now with the XRPL, the fact that they can roll out something bigger and better. But interoperability, let's move over to Flare and let's see how all of these things can start working together. But here you go. You know, you have the idea of how you get right to the WSAM and you start building up these smart contracts. I mean, this is really cool. You know, breaking it down. I like how he broke it down. I like the graphic. Now, you know, trying to understand all of the graphic, but here you go. Number 2, EVM processes unstructured instructions at a low level. Execution can jump to almost any point in the code, even inside what looks like another function. This makes the order of operations harder to control and easier to break. Think old choose your own adventure books. That was really cool, right? And you get A, B, C, change to the next page, and you move on. That's very cool. Number 3, WSAM executes structured instructions. Code must follow real function boundaries, and every process is validated and checked for correct input-output types. The VM ensures the program is proper before it runs, preventing unsafe or disorderly execution. There you go. You got to get the Porsche manual. Make this thing work. It's safer, as I understand it. This makes the XRPL WSAM proposal potentially safer because loops and funny sequencing that would be allowed in the EVM are rejected by WSAM validation. Fewer unsafe paths means fewer ways bugs or exploits might appear. Number 5, because the types of logic are limited in the WSAM implementation, and because it doesn't allow arbitrary jumps through unstructured instructions, WASM can run predictable, optimized routines very efficiently. It avoids the stack bottleneck that slows EVM. And number 6, feel free to correct as I'm not a programmer. There are important differences between these two. These differences are very important, and there is much more to them. And go on. So obviously you get some developers that can comment on it. Vet chimes in. That's why I have such a problem with folks who generalize smart contracts. And I stand by it that if it were called smart cheese, people would cheer it. Your post motivated me to post the VM report done, maybe later. There you go. Do it. I don't know. I think I don't have an issue with smart contracts. I think smart contracts makes it sound smart and it really makes sense. You know, I don't know if you call it smart cheese. Why would people cheer it if it's smart cheese? Smart contracts make sense. It's good. It's all good. I like the breakdown. I thought that was real poignant, real smart. We got to, if you want to get kind of to get this, understand the space more, it's getting more and more complex. That's what I'm noticing. It seemed like everything was so much simpler before. Now it's getting more complex. Real crypto informants. I've tested positive for XRP. There you go. That's very funny. Very funny indeed. I can't see what that little icon is that you posted, but Ray Run is coming in from the Philippines. Laurel, good point. What's the Ripple Bank license timeline? Well, their bank anyways that rolls out is for the institutions. So it's not going to hit retail, at least not anytime soon. But I don't know the timeline. Maybe somebody in here knows the actual timeline for the Ripple bank license, which would be pretty cool. What is the next thing on the agenda? Next thing on the agenda is right here. Let's dig into it. So the next thing on the agenda was some commentary and a scoop posted by Eleanor Terrett. Now, this is really good because we have Caroline Pham, who is the acting chairman of the CFTC, right? So they want to hire a brand new CEO. So they're looking for CEOs to join a new innovation council. What is that all about? She's creating this council to advise on shaping regulation around prediction markets and crypto in order for the agency to hit the ground running. Now, could you imagine that during the previous administration with the SEC, Gary Gensler, the CFTC, imagine if they would have put together a council just like this, an advisory council, not a let's get together and talk things out, but an advisory council that is going to do something net positive and go to the CEOs and bring them in to this positive advisory council. So so here they want to shape regulation. They want to look at the markets, look at crypto. They want to make sure that they do things the right way. They don't want to just be stagnant in January. So they want to hit the ground running in January when the Senate is tentatively set to take up a vote on crypto market structure bill. Now, could you imagine if you don't have this advisory council running and the Senate is going to take up a vote on crypto market structure, and you have some of these clowns that are sitting in Senate that are so antiquated in what they do and how they act and their thought process that they're not even yet on Windows XP. They're probably still stuck on Windows 3.1, from a brain perspective. I mean, think about that. So we need a solid, advisory committee here, council to help out. Pham is expected to ask the industry to submit nominations for the CEO council by December 8th. So it's coming up quick. Maybe Brad Garlinghouse will be at the top of the list somehow. Maybe we'll see some real positive movement. DS, yes, applause to Caroline Pham pulling something together that nobody else has been able to pull together yet in the previous administration, I should say. Bank XRA, his name is Brad. He runs a cool payment firm, Ripple. He has an awesome X tattoo. There you go. He likes his socks. So I think we're going to see Brad Garlinghouse will probably be one of those who will be nominated. Definitely see that there'll be some key moves with Brad Garlinghouse. And that's big because he's done so much in the space and in development of space. Obviously, no stranger to working with the SEC. Likes working with the SEC, I should say. So that's a good thing, right? He had a good working relationship, good camaraderie with the SEC. All right, where are we? Now we're going to get into some geopolitics. In order to get into any of the geopolitics, there are two things that we have to do. One, we're going to listen to Byron Donalds, and then we're going to hear from Pete Hegseth, because there are definitely some clear messages that are going through Washington at this point that due to what just happened over there. So Telcoin got it after 4 years. Ripple could get it much faster if they applied for it. There are no legal requirements for the crypto bank. There's a lot going on. So 3 to 18 months, man, that's crazy. Crazy. Okay, here we go. Let's go full up on
States. You know it's true. I know it's true.
Hang on a minute. Let's back up.
Like that.
Here we go.
So now they're going to feign outrage because Donald Trump responded to their words that do yield to insurrection. Please.
But the president has been...
Stop. No. And this is where I'm going to push back. Because what they are doing is trying to throw literally a grenade into the room. It goes off. And then they're going to claim outrage. They have no moral standing to claim outrage because they decided that they were going to be cute and put out a TikTok video trying to get likes, trying to demonstrate that they're tough enough to stand up to President Trump when Donald Trump is the commander-in-chief, not Mr. Crow, not Senator Slotkin. They are not the commander-in-chief. And like I said before, they would not tolerate any Republican launching any video like that when Barack Obama was president of the United States. You know it's true. I know it's true. Everybody knows it's true. But now they want to feign outrage and have everybody come and ask them how they feel. Man, stop. We're tired of the games and the charade. The American people are looking for real answers on energy, on immigration, on affordability, but they want to be cute. So yeah, I'm not going to give them any standing about, well, how do they feel? That's BS. They knew what they were doing. They created a political stunt to get a response. and they didn't like the response.
In terms of what the president said, are you comfortable?
Administration using oil and gas and
Yeah. Look, I think when it comes to Florida, we've been clear in our state. We do not want drilling off of our coastline, and so we're going to work with the administration to still protect Florida's coastline.
So,
Man, Byron Donalds is so spot on. Thing is, this is possibly the next governor of the great state of Florida. Going to happen. Ron DeSantis is term limited out. So come the next election cycle, which is right around the corner. So talking about 26, this might very well be the next governor of the great state of Florida. So there you go. This guy giving it to the reporters, saying it like it is. I love how, comes out right away, isn't afraid to speak up. He also went after Gary Gensler back in the day under the previous administration and didn't hold back and really talked about the fact that Gary Gensler was the treasurer, CFO for Hillary Clinton for her campaign. So let's listen to this a little more.
sure. Are you comfortable with what the president said, suggesting that members of Congress should be put to death?
Look at how they spin it, because he didn't specifically, say that. He's just saying, he was referencing what was in the Constitution. Let's see what Byron Donald says.
No, but the president also said that they should have to actually stand by. You have to investigate those words. What they're calling for is sedition. 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 Let me ask you a question. What are the penalties of sedition in the United States of America? What are they? The president's not calling for it, but they're the ones that started this foolishness. And I will grant you, this is a foolish political stunt created by people who are trying to get their name ID up, who are trying to demonstrate that somehow they're the standard bearers for our constitutional republic when their own words are in violation of our constitutional republic. You cannot have elected members. I don't care about your politics. This is not even a political deal anymore. You cannot have elected members tell our military men and women, tell the members of our intelligence community that you don't have to follow orders from the commander in chief. That is nuts. And as people who actually put the uniform on and serve this nation, they should know better. But they're playing politics. That's what's wrong.
Can I ask you about the controversy with two of your colleagues from Florida, Corey Mills and Sheila Sherfels McCormick?
Right.
Where are you in both of those cases? What do you think about both of them?
As I stand right now, but the allegations are terrible. They're going to be investigated by the Ethics Committee, and we'll see what the results of the Ethics Committee are going to come back with. These are things that should be investigated. And so we'll see where that lands, but the allegations are not good.
And on Congresswoman McCormick, should she be expelled from Congress?
If the ethics, based upon the current standard where Mr. Santos was expelled, when the Ethics Committee came back with their report and finding and the members made a decision, then yeah.
Man, you gotta love Byron Donalds, the next governor of the great state of Florida. Here you go. Jim D was saying the Dems are shooting themselves in the foot, trying to provoke military to engage in insurrection against the POTUS. That is exactly what they did. It's exactly what they said. They came out and now they want to try to hide behind it like they did nothing wrong in the previous administration and even before that. What did we hear from Nancy Pelosi and the rest of them? They went after, and they told all of the people to get up and get in the faces of any of the Republicans, go after them if they're in the restaurant, go after them if they're shopping. They say, get in their face. They called for violence. They were calling for a violent uprising against elected officials. However you want to cut it, the Democrats put that out there. They made the place much more dangerous. They made it very dangerous for politicians, and they made it dangerous for anybody out there helping to campaign for politicians. They set the stage up, and they thought it was going to be a Lucy Linus or Lucy Charlie Brown type of trap with the football that they're going to put the Democrats are going to hold the football. Republicans are going to go to kick it, and they're going to pull the football away from them. They tried to do that same trap time and time again. They did it again. They make it sound like they didn't say anything, and they're like, "Oh, the Republicans are going to come out, go against them, and it's going to look really bad for them." But it doesn't work. The Democrats, they're definitely, the boy that cries wolf over and over and over again. And people are so fed up with the nonsense. They've created the turmoil. They created the problems. They created the floodgates of all the illegals in this country. They created the woke mindset. They created the whole issue of transgenderism. They created all of the different pronouns. They created all of these different things to put it up to as though it was a mainstream issue, just insane stuff. So Mark Smithson, DC shooter, was a 29-year-old Afghan, not a refugee, from Afghanistan, 29 years old, military age. Let's just put it at that. But brought in after Biden's withdrawal, F up and overstayed his visa. Of course he's here, planted here, a soldier planted here in this country, just like the thousands and thousands, maybe tens of thousands of others that have been planted here, military age, young men from countries and they all came here with a nefarious purpose. And now, little by little, we're seeing exactly, what's going on here. So just so crazy. They did break me. I can't talk anymore. I've been talking all day today, and now I'm kind of at a point where it's tough to talk for some. Yeah, asylum. He was definitely seeking something. What was he seeking? Schumer threatening Kavanaugh. Exactly. They keep doing that. It's so crazy, the stuff that we see. All right, here we go. Now this is it's so horrible to see what happened in Washington, and that shouldn't have happened. The fact, that we have a terrorist in our midst that was brought in by a previous administration. They just open up the floodgates. Like I said, there's tens of thousands of them. Wait till they go. Trump is already cleaning up the whole thing. Problem with the Somalis. Let's clean that up. Now let's go. They got to clean up DC, but why not go to Michigan? Let's see what's going on in Michigan and get that deal cleaned up also. There's just so much to do, little by little, step by step. He'll go after it. He wasn't seeking the asylum. He was offered asylum. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. He was over there minding his own business over in Afghanistan. Then they came to their group and they're like, hey, you guys want asylum over in the U.S.? We're going to pay you. We're going to give you lots of money. We need your votes. We need you to vote. Come on over. You'll do well. We'll put you up in housing, stay in a 5-star hotel. You'll make $5,000 a month. You'll be living large. You'll be living large. So here we go. Gunther Eagle into Satan. Breaking. DC will be on lockdown until further notice. Here's Hexeth laid down the law. Let's just listen to this. Someone decided to target National Guardsmen. That will only stiffen our resolve. We'll never back down. We'll secure our capital. We'll secure our cities. And the guy's he's not a lone wolf. Hey, the media is going to somehow spin it like he's a lone wolf, like it isn't plotted and planned and organized, to little by little, they make it look like they're lone wolves. There's no way the guy's a lone wolf. Impossible. All right, let's play this one.
Very productive meetings, but I want to start by saying after those meetings, myself and my team were notified that 2 National Guardsmen have been shot in Washington, D.C., critically wounded. The shooter shot in a cowardly, dastardly act targeting the best of America, heroes willing to serve in Washington, D.C., serve for people they don't know and they've never met because they love their country and their capital and their community. They were willing to do dangerous things others were not because they love their fellow Americans. Someone decided to turn that into targeting National Guardsmen. That will only stiffen our resolve. We will never back down. We will secure our capital. We will secure our cities. In fact, this happened just steps away from the White House. It will not stand. And that's why President Trump has asked me, and I will ask the Secretary of the Army to the National Guard, to add 500 additional troops, National Guardsmen, to Washington, D.C. This will only stiffen our resolve to ensure that we make Washington, D.C. safe and beautiful. The drop in crime has been historic. The increase in safety and security has been historic. But if criminals want to conduct things like this, violence against America's best, we will never back down. President Trump will never back down. That's why the American people elected him. America and our warriors, our National Guardsmen, are strong. And so we're following this very closely. We're getting information rapidly. I mentioned the faith of this country, the Christian faith, the prayers. I would ask for prayers for our National Guardsmen.
Excuse me, Mr.
Appeals to heaven for our National Guardsmen, for their families, on bended knee as a War Department, as a nation.
Excuse me,
We will never back down.
excuse me.
Think about them right now.
Venezuela.
We had a couple of great, productive meetings with the President and the Minister of Defense here, where we are dedicated to the counter-cartel effort here. Criminality knows no boundaries, whether it's the United States of America and Washington, D.C., or it's the Caribbean and the Western Hemisphere. We are going to go after narco terrorists. It will not stand. Our borders will be secure, whether it's the Dominican Republic or the United States of America, and we look forward to working with our partners to make it happen. You know, President Trump believes in a clear principle: peace through strength. You get peace by being strong. And if you're a narco terrorist who wants to bring drugs to the United States of America, we will find you, we will fix you, and we will finish you, because we have all the rights in the world. We've got lots of attorneys and lots of intel analysts, and we know exactly who we're targeting and why. If you're involved in that conduct, we will kill you. It's that deadly serious because of the poison that has made its way into the American public for far too long. President Trump is serious about it. We're serious about it. And we're proud to be working with the Dominican Republic, another country very serious about ensuring that cartels don't set the agenda. We do. Thank you very much. It's been a great series of meetings.
Thank you very much.
That was solid commentary. I like that commentary, man. Thank God for the entire administration. Everything that all these guys are so amazing. They're just so on it, constantly on it. And now we're spending $200,000 in medical costs to keep this gutless. It's crazy, right? It's insane. Everything that's going on. All right, let's see. Got another one here, and this is going to be kind of comical, only because this is their report talking to Mamdani. And this is so some of these are a couple days old, so people already got to them, but this one is really good. It's going to be fun. So this was Mamdani when, he was asked when he was with Trump if Trump was a fascist, and he's trying to kind of explain his way out of it, because he said, well, you called him one. What do you think? And as he's calling him out, Trump said, just say yes. Just say yes. It'll be a lot easier. So he said yes. That's exactly what he said. Now, there's a post in here that says, if someone allows you to call them a fascist, are they actually a fascist in the first place? And the answer is obviously no, because the word now, the way it's just so masterful. These guys on the media, they have been totally just outplayed, outmaneuvered. Trump's over there playing 3D chess, and they're still playing marbles. They're not even playing checkers, by the way. So here we go.
NYPD would be the ones to do so.
In that press conference with President Trump, a reporter asked you whether you believe that President Trump is in fact a fascist, a word that you've used in the past. You were about to answer. Then President Trump sort of jumped in and he said, quote, "That's okay. You can just say yes. It's easier than explaining it." So, Mr. Mayor-elect, just to be very clear, do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
And after President Trump said that, I said yes. And
so you do.
And that's something that I've said in the past. I say it today. And I think what I appreciated about the conversation that I had with the president was that we were not shy about the places of disagreement, about the politics that has brought us to this moment. And we also wanted to focus on what it could look like to deliver on a shared analysis of an affordability crisis for New Yorkers.
You've also said in the past that President Trump has engaged.
So it's so funny. He's like, yeah, but I had a good conversation with him. And we had, shared ideas of what we're going to do to fix things in New York. So how is the fascist going to sit down and have a conversation with you, start seeing some commonality, and have an agreement on working towards resolution to fix things in New York? It would be my way or the highway. That's the fascist. The fascist would say, get out of the way. I don't support you as an elected official. I don't believe that you were elected by the will, whatever. I mean, it's so funny to watch how these guys try to spin stuff. Just too funny.
Engaged in a quote attack on our democracy. You've called him a despot. Do you still believe President Trump is a threat to the democracy?
Everything that I've said in the past, I continue to believe. And that's the thing that I think is important in our politics, is that we don't shy away from where we have disagreements, but we understand what it is that brings us to that table. Because I'm not coming into the Oval Office to make a point or make a stand. I'm coming in there to deliver for New Yorkers. And a few weeks ago, I was asked by a reporter 3 words to describe myself. I said, New York City. And that's what animated that conversation. How do we deliver for the people of New York City?
I think that some of your supporters would be curious to know. You say you stand by your past statements that, yes, he's
a despot. He's a fascist. Oh, but by the way, we're going to work together to try to solve the problems in New York. The guy is so fake. the guy is so artificial, from his smile to his mannerism to everything that he's doing. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. You think he gives a crap about anything other than his agenda? Whatever he's trying to do while he's running around smiling all the niceties and running around and saying all the buzzwords that he knows that the base is gonna eat up, and he's gonna do, and he probably generally dislikes Trump. At the same time, it's all his agenda, whatever that agenda might be. Whether he's definitely put in that position. So his money, the finance, the money that came behind him, who's behind it? Is their Muslim Brotherhood money behind it? Like, what exactly is putting him in his position of power, and what is his overall objective and agenda? We'll at some point see you bring a socialist to office that keeps talking about the fascist. Socialism is fascism. Socialism is communism. Socialism doesn't believe that individuals have any rights, that it's government. The government has the rights, and the people are subject to the government, that everybody needs to be fair and equal, that there is no other. And here he is as the socialist communist talking about Trump is the fascist. And exactly, Canada is the one country, it's gone downhill so fast that it's mind-boggling to hear commentary from people that are in Canada. Well, large swaths of the population in Canada are actually turning a blind eye to everything that is happening kind of from a negative perspective in Canada. I mean, it's just amazing. There you go. Free healthcare, where government-sponsored euthanasia is the 6th leading cause of death. I mean, it's so absolutely insane to see that. And yes, New York City residents will suffer the consequences of their vote. And that's it. That's all there is to it. They're going to suffer the consequence. But sometimes you have to suffer. Sometimes you have to have pain in order for there to be benefit and growth. And right now, there's going to be a lot of pain. That's what we're going to see for New York, is there's just going to be lots and lots of pain for New York City. It's got to happen, unfortunately. It really does. So, again, let me get rid of this. Again, we will mark your calendar. The calendar needs to be marked. Where did I put? Shoot, I lost it. There it is. Mark your calendar, because Michael Carbonara right here is going to be on the show. There we go. Going through every one there. But Michael Carbonara is going to be here on the chain December 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's a little ways away. That's 2 weeks away. So 2 weeks from now, Michael Carbonara right here on the chain. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a good conversation. We're going to talk crypto. We're going to talk politics. We're going to talk the state of Florida, what it means, where the country's going, a lot of things that we want to get into. Freedom, how does crypto bring freedom? What does it mean to be a conservative that is passionate about crypto, DeFi. I mean, there's going to be so many things that we want to get into. Bring your questions. Get ready for that show. That's coming up in 2 weeks. And Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Chip and I will be back right here on the chain, and we'll have a great drawing for you guys. We'll have a great song for you guys. There'll be a lot of things going on for Saturday. So bring some ideas for Saturday's show also. Be loads and loads of fun. And let me play this because we haven't played it in a little while. But here you go.
$5 for a latte. Half of that feeds some hipster's avocado toast habit. Quit financing coffee fads you don't need. It's time to rebel. Your badass great grandpa had only one tin cup and brewed his coffee over an open fire. We roast to order, ship free, and keep every bean bold enough to wake the dead. Or at least your 9 a.m. meeting. We make coffee that punches Mondays in the face. Badassery coffee. Fresh, fierce, and great. Roasted fresh, shipped free. Chaos pending. Order now at badasserycoffee.com. Badasserycoffee.com.
All right. See you guys Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the chain. I'm out. Oh, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Meant to say that for tomorrow. Have an amazing Thanksgiving, friends, family, wherever you might go. That's for everyone here in the U.S. Anyone who's outside the country, well, wish everybody here a happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you guys Saturday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.